I just wanted to talk about this very important topic tonight. This whole government shutdown stuff. It's having a bigger effect on us than I think we had all anticipated, right? No food stamps in November. The holidays are approaching. What does that mean for all of Americans, right? Because let's be honest, when something affects one of us, it really affects us all. So even if you and your family do not rely on food stamps, you really do. You really do, believe it or not. Hey, Joshua. Yes, you are first. You are the winner. Thanks. Thanks for tuning in. How are you doing today? How are you doing on this fine Saturday evening? I'm trying to see if my phone is charging. Okay, yes, it was. Yes, it is charging. Hey, B Fly. I'm actually supposed to be off on a break, but I've been hearing a lot of chit chat going on about the government shutdown, and people who rely on food stamps they're worried. Now, I really don't believe that this shutdown will last much longer. I think that this scare tactic is, being used by whomever is making the decisions, right? I really believe that when push comes to shove, the government will do what it always does and come to some type of decision, right? Hey, Allison. Thanks for tuning in. How are you guys doing today? And some people may say, you know what? I don't get food stamps. I pay for food anyway. But what about those of you who buy your yams? No, I'm just kidding. Nobody does that over here, huh, money getters? All of you guys are just like law abiding citizens. Nobody commits EBT fraud or SNAP fraud or whatever it's called where you live. But I know some people do, not the money getters, but other people. But for real, you guys, even though, man, I could stand to lose some weight myself, but I eat pretty good, right? Most days I eat whatever I want. If I don't want to cook it, then I go buy it. Like even right now, one of my nice money getters sent me money for lunch today, and I got oxtails. They made me a little sick, but that's what I get for being greedy because I'm supposed to be eating clean still. So that's just a reminder for me to get back on my diet and stay there. But nevertheless, I do worry about those of us who do rely on food stamps and who need those to survive on every month, right? Hey, Tasha. Hey. Hey, M3, what's good? I'm taking a break from my break. I've been having a lovely week, a lovely last few days, and I've been back and forth on here. I've been liking you guys and stuff, but not really commenting. M3, I've been on your page over there liking stuff. Um, I'm a little burned out a little bit on this YouTube stuff, but um, I did want to talk to you guys tonight about that because I've been seeing. I was gonna actually do a video about it, but like I said, I'm on a break, and I was like, let me just do it live. Um, but I don't expect anybody to get on here and tell their business, but I do want to help in any way I can. Um, I know that I've seen like different reports about going to the food banks. I don't like food banks. Um, one year I had a friend. I allowed her and her children to stay with me. Lord have mercy. I get so triggered thinking about it. But someone brought her some food to assist her while she was living with me. And The food, I don't know if it had some type of pantry flies in it or whatever. But when I tell you, I had never had anything like that in my house. I never even knew that existed. But that's why I don't like food banks. And so I just think about everyone who will be going to the food banks and things like that, and ways that you can, supplement, what you're eating right now. This is a good time for us all to start thinking about how we can plant vegetables and things like that. I've been saying I'm going to do it forever. But now it's more imperative than ever that we start thinking about things like that. Maybe we don't all start gardens or whatever, but sometimes we may need to trade. I think we need to really start getting it in our heads that this administration does not care about everyday folks, and they do not care about how the tax cuts and things like that will affect us. And if people are out here worried about how they're going to feed their kids, you think people are going to let their kids starve? No, no. It's going to be eat or be eaten. That's how it's going to start getting. That's how it's going to start getting. People are going to start really getting raw out here to feed their kids. Right, M3. If you're blessed to have garden space, I saw how they have this little kit that you can get that's like a little greenhouse, and it's like it's small, it's not really large, but you can just use it to like, even if you have like a balcony. I don't know what your situation is like in New York, but if you have a little space and you can grow like 4 or 5 different vegetables. I mean, herbs, I think you can like grow on your windowsill, just like anything. Because if you have tomatoes and perhaps your neighbor has potatoes, you can always swap. And I'm not talking about right now, I'm just talking about just thinking about moving forward. If you guys see anything on sale right now, I know it's the middle of the month, and I'm going to put myself in the situation too, because, like I said, when it affects one of us, it affects us all. And if these grocery stores, let me just back up a little bit, they are heavily reliant on food stamp customers. So don't think for 1 minute that your local grocers can withstand the loss of that kind of money that comes from people who are on government assistance. I thought it used to be that for every, it used to be a time when when they accepted food stamps, they would get an extra 50 cent for every food stamp dollar spent. I understand not letting your kids starve, but I heard a lady on YouTube say that she was going to fill up her basket and go in the store and walk out, and she dared anybody to stop her. Allison, that's too funny. Now, people don't listen. Like I said, we have to work together. And if we can share, let's share. If we have extra, like I have so much food in my pantry, like so much food. Remember, you guys, I told you all, well, if you listen to me, if you listen to my lives and keep up with my lives, I just got rid of a deep freezer full of food, because I had just kept filling it up with food and not really cooking it. And then I would throw away whatever was at the top, and then at the bottom it was food probably from a year ago. And then my kids, they wouldn't be like, Mama, it's full out there, so we don't have anywhere else to put it. And before I knew it, I just had accumulated so much meat. And then I knew I wasn't going to cook it. So I was defrosting my freezer, and all that meat just went bad. And I just felt so horrible, because just imagine. And my mom was telling me, like, look, you could give that food to somebody. I'm like, nobody wants that. But just imagine right now all that meat that I had, and I just really basically let it go to waste. I feel so stupid. Right, M3? People are going to get desperate. Oh, you don't have a balcony, M3? Thank you, M3. Please double tap the screen and hit the like button. Um, I remember, I don't know, I want to say a couple of years ago, I was going to the YMCA and they had something where they were giving out food and they would have all this different food and it would be just sitting on the floor. All they'd have greens, they have all this fresh produce, but it was all sitting on the floor. I mean, we don't know what the thing about food, unless you're growing it, unless you have livestock and you're butchering your livestock on your own, you do not know what is going on with your food. So it's like bring it home and wash it up really good, make sure that you don't have any bugs in it or whatever. But I feel like why not just give people gift cards, kind of like a WIC card or something like that, where they can only buy produce and meat and things like that, where they couldn't even buy junk food. They would have to buy food and it would have to be linked to their ID. So, there's things that you could do to limit fraud, but you're not going to be able to limit fraud completely because there are people who will be willing to go in the store, buy whatever someone asks for, and then bring it to them and sell it to them. It is what it is, right? So we can't, there's nothing that we could do about that. There are people who would even go out and get free food and then sell that if they felt like they could get something for it. So, that it just is what it is. You think it's cheaper to go to the farmer's market? I don't know. They seem a little more expensive, at least where I live. I understand the desperation, but I think it's really ignorant to feel like it's someone else's responsibility to feed your children and feel so entitled. Allison, I don't disagree with that sentiment. However, I'm not going to watch my kids starve, but at the same time, I'm not a thief. I'm going to figure out a way. But what about someone else who does have that thinking? And we have to be cognizant of that. There's going to be people out here, if there are people out here doing that type of thing anyway. I saw a father outside with his child today asking for money. And it's like, I can never take my child outside and beg for food or beg for money. I would try to find a way, but I've never had that happen to me, so I can't say what I would do. I've never not been able to get money from somewhere, no matter whether I was working, even when I wasn't working this past 2 years, I was able to supplement my income with content creation. So I feel like there's always a way for those of us who are willing to put our best foot forward and do what needs to be done. For those of us who make excuses and complain, then that's what it will be as well. We won't find those resources available to us. You know what? I saw the short. I think you have a short and I wanted to I'm glad you brought that up. Did you get the job? Are you working? And you know what? M3, even while she wasn't working, she's still been looking for a job, still been taking care of her family, still cooking every day, still sending me super chats, still, you know, becoming a member in my, one of my first member. Hey, G Mom Money Getter, what's good on this beautiful Saturday? Still showing up for others the whole time as she's looking for a job, still trying to make it shake. And, God is not going to leave his children or their seed begging for bread. He's not going to do that. But we can't sit back and even say, you know what? Well, the government's not giving us food stamps, so I'm just going to go out there and steal. God will make a way for us. He will send manna from heaven for his children. It may not, you may not eat what you want to eat, but you guys go, if you got whatever, if you still have food stamps left, those of you who are listening, I'm not saying anybody gets them. I'm not saying anybody needs them. But even those of you who are not reliant on food stamps, still stock your pantries. Don't think that these grocery stores are not going to raise the prices, because they are. If they're not getting their money from food stamps, they're going to up those prices. So expect that in November. If come November, the government hasn't done anything about um, the situation that we are in now, expect for prices to increase on food. Absolutely, G Mob. Be still and trust God. Right, that's what I was saying. I just don't understand the entitlement. I'm 66 years old and I still work. Well, 66 is not old, Allison. 66 is very young. 66 is still a baby, Allison. You know what I mean? So I am retired before 50, but I plan to get my second wind and get back out there in some kind of way, in some type of capacity. You know, if I don't get my bestseller within the next 5 years, I will be back out there grinding, doing the 9 to 5 stuff. I'm just taking a break right now, getting my wits about me. Hey, Cancer 66, how are you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Can I get everybody to hit the like button for me, please, if you haven't already done so? But I was telling my mother a couple of days ago, I think I asked the question, should I get a new refrigerator and a new stove, or should I buy a Louis Vuitton? And then I was telling my mother, I said, I'm older now. I don't have the same desires that I used to have in my 20s and 30s, even. I don't feel like I should be buying something like that. And you don't know that God is giving you little, little, He's like making you aware of things. And like right now in my life, I'm like, you don't need to be spending money on anything. And from the beginning of the year, I've been hearing people say that more and more. Keep your money, hold on to your money. And we have to be stewards over our money anyway and the things that God blesses us with. But in the lean times, we have to be diligent about maintaining our resources. Hi Naruto fan, how are you? Hi Sarah, you are beautiful too. It's horrible to go into the store and get 2 bags of groceries and it costs you $100, and it's just me and my husband, but it's just exactly like I remember I could spend $100 years ago when I had just like, a few barbs instead of a house full of barbs. I could feed me and two Barbies on $100, not even $100 a week. I could feed us, right? And now I'm spending like $1,500 a month on food. But again, we waste too much food. I don't think we'll be wasting food moving forward because it's really getting real. It's getting real out here. Right, Cancer 66. 60s are the new 40s. I agree, but I've worked since I was 11. I retired 5 years ago, but I still work part time. It's hard for me to just sit at home. It is, it does get like that. I have my girls and they keep me so busy because I still have 3 teenage daughters at home. And I still have I still have 2 adult daughters. And yesterday most of us were all together yesterday. And then I have the 2 granddaughters, and it's a lot. It's a lot with that many women, that much feminine energy. It's a lot. And normally, as a mom, I don't feel any way about being with my girls. But I'm like, hold up now, hold up. I am mommed the f out. Like I've been telling everybody, back up, back up. Like, and Dreamy, the granddaughter, the youngest, she has been cutting up and acting up. I'm like, oh no, oh no. Everybody clear the path. Get away. Get away. Oh, you went to Aldi's with your blessing. I know that's right, M3. Allison, you retired twice? Oh my. I want to retire twice as well. Hi, Ryder Wilson. I love that name, Ryder. That is so bomb. Hey, Ryan, how are you doing? I missed you. You been staying clear of these YouTube streets? Um, I'm doing good. Just I was taking a little break, and I will continue on with my little mini break, but um, catch you up on peaches. We'll talk about peaches too in a little bit, but we're all going to need us some peaches in a minute, Ryan. Um, and Gma Money Getter, I know you keep. And Gma, you know what? She told me at the beginning of this year or last year when I was saying, no, I don't want to vote for Biden. I don't want to vote for Trump. And she kept saying, my mom kept saying to me, listen, he doesn't want, they don't want to pay taxes. They're going to do all this different stuff. And I didn't believe it. And everything that Kamala said that Trump was going to do, he has done it. And he lied and said, oh, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. But there's a lot of different programs. The HEAT program is an assistance program that assists low income families with their utility bills. I think it's their heat or their electric. Um, that's an that's another program that will be affected. Anything that is funded by the federal government is in jeopardy. Just like right, except for I think it's social security benefits. Those will not be affected. But if you are applying for supplemental security income or social security, then anticipate that the application process will take even longer because those people aren't getting paid either. During this shutdown, federal government employees are not being paid. So forget the food stamp stuff. I mean, I know everybody who gets it needs it, right? But there are people who are legitimately working and they can't support their families. They're being told to take out loans or use their credit cards right now. So I remember when $80 would get you through a whole week, and that's getting everything in the 80s. Yeah, absolutely. I shop at I've never shopped at Aldi's. My mother is always telling me, go to Aldi's, go to Aldi's. But I've never been over there. I always miss my money getters, mulatto. Always. I know my regulars. I know the people who stop by almost every time. And when I don't see you, I'm looking for you. I'm looking for you. No, Social Security will not be affected. I believe they want to gut that program. And Social Security is not a need-based program. It is an entitlement. If you work and you have paid into Social Security, there is no way they should even think about touching those benefits, but they keep trying. The Republicans want to touch it like crazy. They want to increase the age limits and all of that. It is going to get worse. And we have 3 more years, and Trump is trying to figure out a way that he could stay in even longer. But I think people got it by now. I think people have it. All those people who didn't vote, I'm one of them who didn't vote. Just think about it though, like if you receive financial aid of any sort, expect that that will also not be there for people. That will not be there for you. I've been telling people for years, like, if you're going to go to school and if you don't have the money and you're relying on financial aid, you better go now. Student loans are financial aid. A lot of people don't know that. They think that the Pell Grants are the financial aid part. No, financial aid is also student loans. He wants to have a monarchy. I believe it. They have good produce and pasta at Aldi's. I'm going to go check it out because, like I said, when next month comes, if the government shutdown is still in effect, I expect that food prices will increase. So I don't like to fill my freezer up with meat because I don't want the same situation that happened before. But I think I will be. And if probably next week's sales will probably go up. So even though the food stamps have not stopped this month, what grocery stores have a tendency to do is they try to um, preempt any different changes that are occurring. So now in this month, prices will increase. I'm telling you guys, I'm not just trying to scare anybody, and I'm not trying to uh, just get anybody like fearful of anything that may occur, but I'm trying to not even warn you, but just telling you, like, stay on your toes for real, especially if you have families. Even if you don't, even if you feel like, well, I have money saved up, I'll be all right. You don't want your money to be quickly depleted by increased prices. You want to still keep your money, as much of it as you can, right? Your granddaughter gets, what do they call, survivor benefits from her dad's passing? No, they cannot take that. Survivor's benefits is the same thing as Social Security. Right, Allison? That's an entitlement. Hey, Abraham, how are you doing? Yep, that is an entitlement. They can't touch Social Security. They want to, and they're trying to figure out a way that they can do that. Like Cardi B was saying, how people think, well, these tax cuts and different things like that are benefiting the rich, but they're not benefiting the rich, not unless you're like a billionaire. They know what they are doing. The top 1%, and I mean the very top 1%, they want to keep all of their money. They don't want poor people getting their money. And I feel like everybody should have a certain, I mean, I feel like everybody should have to pay the same percent no matter where they are. So if taxes is 10%, they should be 10% for everybody. If I make $1,000 and 10% is 100, then I should pay 100. If I make $1 billion and 10% is what? What would that be? 10 million? What's 10% of a billion? How many? What is that? Is that 100 million? Then that's what it is. Is 100 million a billion? One of y'all help me figure this out. I don't know. I'm not a billionaire, so I don't count that high. Right, double tap the screen, double tap the screen. But yes, go ahead and do your shopping, fill up those cabinets, fill up your pantries, take stock of what you already have, what you can make meals out of. Um, I would make sure my kids don't eat beans, but you know what? If they starve, they starve, because I'm going to get me a few bags of beans, a few bags of rice. I'm going to make sure I got all the green beans, canned corn, things like that, ramen, things like that, that can, shelf stable items. And then I'm going to fill up my freezer with meat. Okay. The junk food stuff, I would minimize. Like, get you a bag of flour, get you a bag of sugar. And if you have your butter and things like that, you can make different things at home. You can make your cookies at home, your sugar cookies and things like that. You can make a little cake or something at home, you know. You don't have to buy all that different junk food. Also, I think this is a good time to buy only what you need so that these grocery stores understand. Like, when stuff gets iffy, we don't have to come in here and buy stuff. We don't have to come in here and buy things. Because once the grocery store owners start seeing how they're affected by it, oh, they're going to feel some type of way about it too, because their bottom line matters as well. And when it comes to donating money to Trump, or if they're going to donate it to the Democrats, they're going to think about, wait a minute, the last time the Republicans were in office and they had control, we lost money. Right now, the stock market is plummeting because of this government shutdown. So don't think it will not affect you, because if you have money invested in the stock market, you're losing right now. There's my girl Niche handing out memberships. What's good, Niche? Thank you. Let's see. It looks like, who got a membership? Marcella, Coach Mean Ring, BB, PM. Hey, Crystal Coachman, thank you. You also received a membership. I guess you guys were all in my bushes. Money getters, please do me a favor and throw some money bags in the chat for the new money getters. Thank you, Niche. Always one of my biggest supporters. I appreciate you. I'm doing pretty good. I'm just chilling, as always. That's okay. Don't worry about shake the bushes, right? You can always shake the bushes with a little membership gifting. That's how you can see who's all in there listening and hiding out. I hope everyone I hope everyone hit the like button, and please give Niche some money bags. Big money spender. Niche is always giving out memberships. I appreciate that. Guys, we are having a pajama party for members only. So if you got your membership, you got in while the getting is good. And you're gonna want to keep your membership, because it looks like we got to get our mind off of things. That's why we talk about the Peach McIntyres and the knuckleheads on social media, because otherwise, I mean, come on. What are we gonna do? Think about our own problems? F that. Hey, let me tell you something, Matthew. There are a lot of people who work that are on food stamps. There are a lot of Americans who are working poor, who work every day, 9 to 5, and they are not receiving enough to pay for their bills and pay for food. And some of those people don't even have children. They don't have health care benefits, and they work every day. If you are a working American, if you're an adult and you go to work every day and you work a 9 to 5, you should be able to pay, you should be paid a living wage. And that's just the bottom line. You should be paid a living wage where you could at least, if you are a single adult, you should at least be able to pay for a 1 bedroom apartment, if nothing else. You should be able to have a car where you can get gas. It doesn't have to be a brand new car, but you should be able to have a nice used car that would get you back and forth to work, that you could put your gas in. You should be able to have food. Maybe you don't have a lot of money for luxuries. Maybe you have to take on extra odd jobs to go on the vacation, or maybe you should barter with someone else and exchange something sometimes in order to get some of your wants met, right? But your needs, like having food in your refrigerator, should be met if you get up and go to work every day. There is no reason why you should go to work every day and you have to wonder how you are going to eat. I know people who are like that right now. And like I said, some of them have children, some of them only have one child. People think that the people that are on food stamps is some fat black mom with a bunch of kids with a bunch of different baby daddies who's milking the government, and that's not true. It's not true. You have a live scheduled on this topic for Monday. We're going to talk about it then too, M3, because until this situation is resolved, we got to figure some stuff out. So I'll be over there listening to you talk about it as well. I enjoy you, especially the panels. I like the panels too. Um, I have a panel coming up. I don't know. I might do it tomorrow night. I might do a Monday night, but we'll see. The job market absolutely sucks. People are getting laid off left and right. I don't think anybody has the right to say, well, you need to get out there and pay for stuff. As soon as Trump came in, he started gutting different departments. People lost their jobs. I think the last we heard, um, the department that was over the special education, they all just lost their jobs. People are losing their jobs left and right, and there are not more jobs suddenly coming, springing up for those people. If you are used to, if you have a bachelor's degree or a master's degree and you're used to making a certain amount of money, and then that job is taken away from you, and then say you're like me, right? I'm nearly 50 years old. Do you think that it's going to be as easy for me to get back into the job market? Because it's not. I used to make 100K a year. When I before I left my job, I started looking for other jobs. They wanted to pay 20 or $30 an hour for someone with years of experience and who has degrees. They wanted to pay start me out with 25, $30. What was I supposed to do with that? And no benefits. No benefits. My old job, all my benefits were covered. I got a stipend for my benefits for me and my children every month. So you're going to tell somebody like that, oh, if they lose their job, oh, you should get out here and work. It's not as simple as that. Oh, get out here and work. People are working every day and they still cannot afford to live. They still cannot afford to pay their rent and put gas in their car and get new shoes for their kids for school. So I think that we had to really think about what we are saying. The name Niche you sold me. That's your name. That's your name, Niche. Well, my friend, that's why people have two jobs nowadays. But you're right, people should be paid better. Yes, why? Okay, so that's why people have two jobs. People should have two jobs. They should work 16 hours a day just to live, while these business owners, while these companies make more and more money. They're making billions of dollars. They're profiting billions of dollars, and we should have to work two jobs in order to pay rent. That's not fair. That's not fair at all. That seems like it's almost like modern day slavery. I should have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and work from can't see to can't see in order to feed my family because these big wigs, these big companies don't want to pay me a living wage. I don't think so. I don't think so. No, nobody wants to get food stamps. I know I don't want to get food stamps because if you're getting food stamps, that means that you're not making enough money to even be over the poverty level. So who wants to get food stamps? I'm sure most Americans, able-bodied Americans, want to work. I'm sure most people do want to work. Nobody wants to sit around at home getting food stamps. What's my goal for membership? I don't have a goal for membership right now. This is really like my first month doing memberships. I just feel like I want as many people to join as possible. um, I had a goal of 30 and I think I reached 30. Now with today, I think I should be at almost 40. So 50, 50, and you guys join up because we got a lot of good stuff coming up in the weeks to come and moving forward. So, you know, I hear what Matthew's saying, but it's the ones that feel like you're so entitled and that we that work should take care of them that get me upset. Um, I think the condition of poverty is something that goes far beyond anything that we could really, I think that it's more than people wanting other people to take care of them. I think sometimes it's just systematic, right? It's hard to get people out of a certain mindset. You understand what I'm saying? It's not even that they don't want to work. Once people get Once people are used to living a certain way and that's how everybody else lives around them, it's hard to get them to move past that. And some people do, and little by little, those generational curses. And when I say generational curse, poverty is a generational curse because oftentimes when you see someone on welfare, their mama was on welfare and their grandmama was on welfare, right? So that's how they are used to getting by. If I grow up and I don't really see people around me working, it's going to be very difficult for me to change my mindset into working, right? Because this is all I see going on around me. But at the same time, if if I come from a poor background and say, let's just say for instance, I come from South Central LA, right? If I live in South Central LA and there aren't many opportunities for me to live beyond my circumstances, then how will I be able to do that? If because of what I look like and because of where I come from, it's harder for me to get into college, it's harder for me to um, get jobs, then it's going to be harder for me to not be on welfare. And we could say, oh, that's all a bunch of malarkey. Oh, that's this, that's that. It is harder for black kids to get jobs. It's harder. That's flat out. It is harder for black kids to get jobs. Okay, so when you see them standing on the street corner, aimlessly not doing things, it's because when they went out and looked for jobs, it was hard for them to get one. Okay, so, and now with illegal immigration, it's made it even harder for people to get jobs. Those jobs that black kids or even Latino kids that are born here that they could have got, or even less, they're not getting those jobs anymore. A lot of those jobs are going to illegal immigrants. And we know most of them are illegal immigrants because one giveaway is they don't understand English. But they're getting hired anyway, even though they don't understand English because it's cheaper labor. And that's not something that I want to just like get into politically because I know people feel touchy about that. I'm just saying it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And then again, in South Central LA, where it was mostly Black Americans living there, they have dispersed throughout the country. There was a major Blexit, meaning a black exit from South Central LA because the property values went up. They weren't able to find jobs. A lot of black people weren't able to rent. And that is, again, that's on them because they should have, if they had that mindset, probably better educated themselves, probably went out and voted, you know. But instead, South Central Los Angeles is now gentrified. And you'd be hard pressed to see many black people there like it used to be in the 80s or 90s. It's not that way anymore. Who was on YouTube saying that? What she was saying? Yeah, it's going to be a lot of empty little tummies right now. My people want to do a panel about relationships and narcissists. Some of our sisters have been through it and some still are. I know I have. I want to be on that panel. I know not everyone will agree with this, but nobody in the US should be hungry. Nobody. We are we are supposed to be the land of opportunity, of hope and promise. That's why everybody else wants to come here. And even though many of us are on food stamps and even though many of us should, pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and do better, we are still far better off than people around the world, than many people around the world. If you go to Colombia, man, oh man, if you go to some of these countries, there are people that are digging in the garbage to try to find something to eat for them and their children. And in America, that's not the case. If you are digging in the trash, it's because you want to. Because there are soup kitchens on every corner. There are constantly, like I said, um, you see food pantries giving out food like every week at the local college where I live. They're giving out food. I need to go get in that line this week. I need to go get in the line to see what they got. I'm not even playing. I'm gonna go start doing it. Cause I don't got time for this. Allison says, if I was in my childbearing years, there is no way in Hades I would have a child in these days. You know what? I still would want my barbs. I'm sorry, but I told them, I said, I'm afraid for the future. And my daughter said, well, what about now? What about right now? What about today? How are things for us today? Are you scared for us today? I said, well, I never felt like that in my life. Like I've always felt optimistic, but I'm afraid for the future for my kids. Like, what will life look like for them? I do worry about that. It's not fair, Lisa, at all. Yes, we do waste a lot. My mother was telling me, she said, you know, if we keep wasting food like that, we're going to starve. God doesn't like us to waste like that. She was like, she said, you can't keep wasting food like that. You're going to end up starving. And you know what? I can't keep living like that either. I got to start eating the food I buy. Like, it's a waste. We do waste a lot of food. We waste a lot of food. And I remember, you know, um, there was a time, not I remember, but I've read about those times where, people were lucky to get a meal on the stove, a hot meal. And that's why people used to say, oh, we had to eat everything on our plate. You had to eat everything on your plate back then because your mama wanted to make sure you were full and that you had a healthy meal. Because back then, you probably only had breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it wasn't no going to McDonald's, it wasn't no snacks. So you had to eat everything, right? And kids were outside playing more. Kids weren't in the house sitting on cell phones all day. So it wasn't like you were going to be fat because you weren't eating all the junk food that kids eat today or the fast food, and you were probably outside playing, right? Hey, Callie, how are you doing, hon? What's your Saturday looking like? Allison said, who feeds children tomahawk steaks? Absolutely not. I don't even think my kids would want a tomahawk steak. I know I wouldn't. I don't like steak like that. Not a big piece of meat like a looking like something a dinosaur would eat. They understand English. They act like they don't, at least those here in Minnesota. I used to do the hiring at Burlington, and I would be so frustrated. Like if I go to a Burlington right now, and again, it's all there's no blacks, no white Americans, nothing working there. And that's how it's really become in California. So if I tell somebody, an 18-year-old who's in college, oh, why don't you go get a job? They're not going to get hired. They're not. Because it's almost like Americans have been pushed out of the job markets in some areas. Not every place, but where I live, yes. Even those government jobs. And there used to be a time where, like for Los Angeles County, you would see uh, it would be multiracial. You would see some of everybody. You don't see everybody working in these government institutions anymore. You just don't see it. And they'll tell you if you don't speak Spanish, you will not get hired. So it's like, okay, can I try to move to Vegas? Can I try to move to Arizona where it's a Republican state? But then even if I move to those states, guess what happens? I know a lot of people who have moved to those states. They are working two jobs or they are working and door dashing as well to try to compensate for the meager wages that they get at their job. Even though they can get a job, they're going to need two jobs because the minimum wage is lower. The rent may be a little bit lower, but you still will not be able to pay rent and pay bills unless you have two jobs, which is crazy. It was like that in Vegas. You saw somebody digging into the garbage eating food. Wow. Hey, Paul. Hey, Sheila. It's really showing us that God is still in control. He has never failed me. We have to put our faith in Him. I'm glad my ancestors taught me survival skills. And you know what? I have survival skills as well. And the most, and like you said, Sheila, the best survival skill I've had is prayer because, that's what I was just like. When Trump was coming into office, I said, it doesn't matter who's in office. It doesn't matter about illegal immigration. Hold on, guys. Okay, sorry about that, you guys. But like I was saying, my greatest survival skills is prayer. It doesn't matter who's in office, who leaves office, whatever. I'm still going to pray. I'm still going to do what I have to do for me and mine. So it doesn't really matter what somebody has going on in office or what legislation is being enacted. It doesn't matter. I still have to pray. I still have to get out here and get to it. My grandparents grew up in the Great Depression, so there was no wasting food in their household. Right. Sorry, guys, that's me going in and out. Turn it down some, please.
Sorry.
Turn it down. Okay, thank you. We are discussing the government shutdown uh and I guess they're going to stop food stamps in November. So we're talking about how we are all going to be affected by that, whether we receive food stamps or not, and what that may look like moving forward. How are we going to all um, maintain our households if, for instance, food prices increase, or if um, some of us don't get our food stamps, right? So when I say some of us, I mean all of us, because if you get food stamps or not, you are affected by this shutdown. There are lots of other programs that are being affected by the government shutdown. I know TSA, um, I think they're not getting paid. If you work in any capacity for the federal government, you're not getting your paycheck right now. So they have already been affected by that, right? And about those of us who have not been stocking up our pantries, or who don't have a surplus of food in a deep freezer or something like that? Next month, it's going to be an issue. And I think about the mom or the fathers who who want to feed their children, and if they don't have food, what are they going to do about it? Are they going to steal from a store? Are they going to knock somebody else over the head and perhaps get their food that way? I did see the video where she was feeding her children tomahawk steaks. Yeah, so I know that I've seen articles saying that, food pantries are anticipating giving out larger amounts of food and families could rely on them. But if nobody's receiving food stamps, then I'm sure that those food pantries are going to also be low on their stock, right? Right. We are survivors. Ugh, survivors. We will always make it happen. Absolutely. When you have a lot of money, Allison, and you don't really have nothing to do, then food is what you do. Because if, most people, they would be investing that money in stocks or bonds or something like that. But, Peach, she makes a cute little coin from social media, but she's not used to having money at her disposal. So she doesn't really, like I said, she has that poverty mindset, right? So all she can think about is, I always wanted to have tomahawk steaks, or I always wanted to be able to eat at Yard House, or I always wanted to be able to do this. So she doesn't really or I always wanted to be able to gamble thousands of dollars. And if she really wanted to gamble and still make money, she would have invested that money in the stock market, right? But she wants that instant gratification. She wants to hear those bells ringing and things like that. So when you're poor, you want something instantly. You don't know the what it's like to play the waiting game and really benefit from your endeavors that way. So she's just doing what poor people do when they get money. She wastes it on BS. Your sister waited in TSA for 70 minutes. Wow. I don't think she's back gambling, but I mean, at least she says she's not. I don't know what that woman does, you know. But even if she's not wasting her money in the casino, Sage, she'll be wasting it somewhere else. Wasting it on food, wasting it on clothes, wasting it on anything that she can think of. You know what I mean? She's gonna waste her money. I think she went and bought Choice a tricycle that cost $700. Like, that was a waste of money. She said the family's gonna start bike riding every day. I haven't seen them go on one bike ride. All we see her doing is being in her closet, cussing people out. I have a half of mine. This thought occurred to me today. Peach has to embellish the amount of money that she makes, because really she has no friends. So being on social media for her is like really um, a way for her to have outside human interaction other than Wood and the kids. Because think about it, if Wood was your husband, think about it. Think about it. Like, what would you really talk about with a Wood? And then all the rest of your children are what, 13 and under, and one of your children is on the spectrum. So she only has McKay to talk to, because she doesn't talk to her family, and she says she doesn't have friends. So outside of that, her only human interaction really is with the Peach Patch. So, and when she gets on live, just watch her. She's not really selling any classes, and she's not even really talking about what's going to happen in her classes and what you could expect to get from her classes. And even if she does sell classes, she cancels them half the time. Someone just exposed her. I saw a video earlier today. Someone exposed her for selling classes and then canceling them, and then ducking and dodging the clients. If the point was to sell a class, When you go live, why aren't you selling classes? Why are you cussing people out? And this whole entire last week, she's been going in on Kaylee G about not hugging her children. I see Kaylee G doing her kids' hair all the time. I don't see Peach combing her kids' hair. When's the last time you saw Peach comb one of her children's hair? You know, those are the things she should worry about that concern her, not everybody else. Right. Wasteful and financially illiterate. Absolutely. Right. She's never around other adults. And then Sage, when she is around other adults, she has poor communication skills. She doesn't have the emotional intelligence of an ant. If she's around other adults, she starts arguments with them. She starts getting into it with them. And it's like these people are like, they can understand almost instantly that this person is willing to take it there. She's willing to take it wherever it needs to go. And you can't, if you have something to lose, right? Or if you're not that type of person, if you're like an adult who is sensible, then you don't really want to get into it with the Peach, because Peach will cause you to lose because she don't care. It's content for her, and it gets her off to know that she makes other adults uncomfortable. So she doesn't mind doing that. If you notice, that's what she is actually gunning for. When she comes online, it's not about selling classes. It's like, how many people can I make uncomfortable? How many people in the world can I spread my negativity to? And let me see how many people I can get to agree with this bullshit. Right, her entire life is a gamble, Allison. You know, as somebody else said, she was losing it. The longer she stays in that closet, the more she starts to lose her mind. I can't believe it, because can you imagine being holed up in a closet all day long, hiding from your 9 children? I can't. I cannot imagine it at all. But and then this is another thing I wanted to talk to you guys about. I seen my girl Yo Yo. She did a live about it earlier, but one of Wood's girlfriends came to my what was her name? Tampa girl, BB. I don't know if she still has her page up, because I searched it and I didn't see the page anymore. But she came to my video, and you can't see it on the video anymore, but you can see it if I go like to if I go to my YouTube studio. Let me see. She says, where is that at? It's on the video that I did, Kaylee G. Or maybe it's not there anymore. Maybe she erased her page, which makes me think maybe it was really real. Because I know a lot of people said, well, was that AI? But she said she's so worried about all the single mothers. Meanwhile, her man has been paying me, or something like that. I can't see the entire message anymore. But yeah. And I think this girl has been going around to like Peach McIntyre reaction videos, and she has been making comments. And she posted a video, and it looked like a picture with her and Wood. Yeah, so I think she may want to stop worrying about who Kaylee G is hugging and start worrying about who Wood is hugging. Real talk. Yeah, so I don't know. I was going to do a video about that as well. Laugh out loud, Sage. Putrid peach spirit is nasty. Ugh, that's a lot of peas. It is. It is. Yo had did a video the other day, and she kept pausing, and every time her face, she had like this. It's like her. You can just feel it, to the point that I don't want to do Peach McIntyre videos anymore. I don't. I keep saying it, but the more I do them, the more I feel just like ick, because I feel like her spirit is permeating through my cell phone. Like, you got to understand, when you when you ingratiate yourself with certain spirits, they can attach themselves to you. And I don't want that on me. I don't want that over here with me and the money getters. I don't. We got to find something else to talk about. I mean, it's fun to talk about her, and she just does so much stuff. It's like a lot of content. Like, she really gives us a lot to talk about and to work with. I don't want to act like she doesn't, because whether you hate her or love her, she's entertaining. She's entertaining, but I just feel like, I don't know. I don't know. That's the same girl from a few years ago. I believe it. I believe that Peach has tried to make it to where Wood can't get out the house like he used to. I believe Wood used to get out the house a lot more. He used to hang out with his Tampa buddies, and Peach, all that, okay, I'm going to take the kids to school, right? And I'm going to leave the house, because Peach doesn't live near Lakewood Ranch. She wants us to believe that she does. But Peach was leaving in the morning, and it was still dark out during the summer. So we know she was leaving before 6 a.m. And then she would have to look for somewhere for her to do her videos at. Like, and that's how she started doing it at the library. Because I guess it was going to be a lot for her to drop the kids off at school and then go back home. So her thing was, okay, I would drop the kids off at school, then I would stay in Lakewood Ranch, and then I would do all my videos or whatever, and then I would pick up the kids from school. Well, that's how it started off. Then it was, okay, now the kids need tutoring, so we're going to be at tutoring till 5 or 6. Then it was like, okay, well, I'll put Wonderful in daycare, but the other three will still be with you. Now, this is all alleged. This is all my opinion. Well, it's not alleged, it's my opinion. If it ain't true, then, I think it is. I believe it is. And this is what I'm saying, you know? But I feel like she was doing it for two reasons. Number one being, I'm going to keep Wood's tail at home with the children. And then by the time I get back, it's going to be too late for him to go anywhere or do anything. And if he does, you know, he's going to be so tired, he's not going to want to go out, right? Because he's going to have to be right back in the morning at 6 a.m. to get the other ones. That's what I feel like. Energy does transfer. Absolutely, Allison. And then now that those kiddos are no longer in school, that's why we see her in the closet all day. Because the kids are not at school anymore. She doesn't have a reason to go to Lakewood Ranch now. Those last three are not in school. And McKay may not be in school. I'm willing to bet that McKay is also no longer in school. You don't find it entertaining at all, Allison? Y'all entertained by it? Because if I talk about something else, my numbers are low. But if I talk about Peach, y'all come in here and want to talk about it. I'm just going off of y'all vibe. Honestly, I could talk about anything, and I can make anything worthwhile. I can make things informative, or I can just come on here and talk about BS because I can talk. I'm a talker when I get to talking. But I just go off of what you guys want to talk about most of the time. Or if I find that something is worthwhile to inform my audience about, like this situation, then I'm going to do that as well. And those who choose to tune in, and those who don't, that's fine too. But there has to be a balance. How is who getting away with what, Sage? I think she's probably paying him to stay at home too, because she said in the past that he said, "Why are you sending the kids to daycare? I take better care of them anyway." So I feel like he said he would just do it, but then she also said that she was paying him $10,000 a month to watch the kids to her satisfaction, meaning that he would take them to Busch Gardens and take them here, there, and everywhere. And that was when she still had six. And then she had Phenomenal. So then he had seven, right? Which was probably a lot, but not too much, right? But now that she has nine children and two infants, that's hard for him to take those kids out by himself. But Pete probably still expects him to do it, and Wood, he doesn't have a much of a backbone. And then he thinks to himself, "Oh, that's a lot of money. Oh, I'm gonna get 10K. That's a lot of money." But which 10K is, but damn, like, I don't care if they're my kids or not. Like, put them in daycare. I'll go get a job. Let's give this 10K to the daycare. You take some to daycare. I'll take some to you take. I'll take the kids to daycare. You take the kids that go to school, and then that way I could have my day. I'd rather have my day. How she getting away with the kids not being in school? Um, she could have them either homeschool or at another school. She can have them at another school. They don't have to go to Lakewood Ranch School. They probably were going there because one, Peach wanted her kids to have that proximity to the other kids that she felt were well off. And two, she wanted to make the Peach Patch believe that she still lives in Lakewood Ranch, or that or that her kids, that they are not having to switch schools, right? After they just started that school, she probably had a lot of different reasons why she still wanted them there, but and she was willing to do it. That's why the whole feeding empty little tummies little debacle, that's why she started all of that. Peach was tired of taking her kids out there. I'm sure it was a strain on Wood to have those kids all day long, and he got to complaining, you know. Also, it was a lot on her. She's up from sun up to sundown, and Peach doesn't like being bothered with those kids like that. She can sing that song that, "Oh, I love being a mama. I love my kids." But one thing Kaylee G said that she was right about, Keith, Peach didn't have all those children because she likes kids. She has them because she's irresponsible. You don't think he's in school either. I also think that homecoming video was looked very suspicious. Yeah, because all she showed was him trying on the clothes. Did he actually go to homecoming? Like, where was did? Let me look up McKay's videos. Hold on, what's his name? Basically, Greg. Did he have a homecoming video? Because I never saw that. I'm gonna look at it right now. Let me get my other phone and see what's going on YouTube. Basically, Greg. What is that? Ugh. Yeah, he doesn't have. The last video he did was I visited Destin, Florida, which was 2 months ago. Okay, lives. Okay, shorts. Okay. Okay, he did have a homecoming video. But what is this dancing? Oh, wow. That's weird. Here's everything I did at homecoming. So he did go. He did go. Okay. Yeah, they did go. Right. I would rather work 3 jobs too. I mean, it's like she makes it harder than it has to be. But he did. If you go to his YouTube page, basically Greg, he did go to homecoming. However, that homecoming video was 2 weeks ago. Uh, let's see. Yeah. So he hasn't been doing videos in about 2 weeks since he did the homecoming stuff. He hasn't really done a lot of videos at all. She wanted to be attached to what she thought was prestige, but she did not fit in. She doesn't fit in anywhere. Oh, I have a feeling she fits in somewhere. She fits in somewhere, but I'm not gonna say because I'm too classy for that. Um, but yeah, mm, mm-hmm. Keep pushing. There was a video of him dancing, and the people behind him just looked weird, and it appeared that he was at a dance. Yes, that was a homecoming dance. They looked like they were dancing like weirdos too. I guess that's what the high school kids are doing. Sage says at a mental institution. OMG, Sage. You guys are crazy. But yeah, I don't know. She's been going in and in on Kaylee G for a while. I don't even see any more Kaylee G videos. And then women are talking about, thank you, Peach. I start hugging my kids more. People would do anything for clout. I mean, anything. There is no way in Hades I would give Peach any props for anything. Peach doesn't even push her own husband to go hug his own kids. Yours, like, she's just so full of it, and people are sitting there listening to it. She just said, "I don't like anybody's kids but my own. F other people kids." She said, "F them. Anything that did not come from me, I don't give a F about. And no, I'm not anybody's stepmama. So why are you worried about Kaylee G's kids and if she hugs them or not? You should be elbowing your husband like, when's the last time you talked to Greg Jr., the first Greg Jr.? Because Wood has a child that's 2 years older than Gregory McKay, who's also Gregory Jr. Like, and someone came in the chat and said that Peach was actually Wood's side chick. So Gregory McKay was actually the side baby. So she was the side chick, and Gregory McKay was the side baby at first. It just looks like typical weirdo behavior, typical teenage weirdo behavior, teenagers being teen. But He did have a picture that said homecoming. It did look like a homecoming dance. So, you know. But I didn't see Peach post anything about the homecoming dance on her page. So, or even, I didn't even see her sharing McKay's videos on her page. So I thought, well, maybe he didn't. It's possible that he didn't go, but I guess he did. So I don't know. Maybe he's still at the school. Do you guys think that he's still at Lakewood Ranch Prep? Or do you think that he's not in the school and neither are? Because remember, she had already taken one of her kids out of the school. So she may be paying for all of them to get homeschooled. Or they just all may be going to another school, which is what she should have done in the first place instead of saying, I'm going to pay $5,000 a month for them to get tutoring to try to catch them up to the other kids. Like, that's not going to happen. If the other kids are already above grade level, like, how do you think your kids are going to catch up to that? Even in a year's time, that's not going to happen. Just a waste of money. So, okay, guys, I'm going to get off here now. I may be back tomorrow. I don't know. The next time I come back, I'm going to do a panel. Um, it's going to be, would you, because I seen this on another channel. They were saying that black women tend to be homophobic. And I wanted to talk about that. Like, would you date a guy who is bi? Or would you date a transgender guy? Like, what are your non negotiables? And then also, do you think if a man sleeps with another man, or if he has experimented with another man, is he automatically bi or gay? And would you date him? So, and I'm like, why can't we? And that's what just burns my hide. Like, why do black women have to do and say and be what everybody else says we should say and do and be? That's not cool. Like, everybody else gets to have a preference, but when it comes to us, then we have to change, to suit everybody else's needs. Like, if you're gay, be gay. Why do you care what we think? Why does it matter if we? I feel like what they want is for us to say, oh no, we accept you. We'll still date you. We know that that's not gay. We'll still accept you, so that they can feel, so that they want straight and gay men to feel free to date whomever, because they feel like if we don't accept it, then straight men won't date them. But if we say, oh no, we accept you dating and experimenting, if we say that, cool. Sage said we're not desperate. Absolutely not. Like, I don't want to date a man who likes men. That doesn't make me homophobic. But that's what many in the gay community feel like. Well, black women are homophobic. They don't like gay men. I don't care who men choose to date. But for me, I want a straight man. And the gays want a straight man too. They want to feel like they can get a straight man. You think it's because when women date women, men don't have a problem with it? Because that's altogether different. Because a woman can't dominate another woman. In that situation, a man is still the dominant force in the relationship, right? And most of the time, women like men. They might, do things with women to please a man, but most of the time, a man is not going to feel threatened by another woman. Now, in order for a man to be with another man, he has to submit to him, right? I don't want a man that's bent over and receiving on the receiving end. I don't even want him being the one that's doing the giving. I don't want that. That's not what I prefer. Now, Allison, knock it off. We're not doing that. And that doesn't make me homophobic. But yeah, that's what I think I'm going to talk about dating. And what are your non negotiables? Like, will you date a man who has been with other men? Allison says she doesn't want a man who gives or receives. That's what I'm saying, Allison. Absolutely not. I mean, I don't care what you choose to do. And if, in my mind, if a man experimented or whatever, then I don't want to be a part of that. If I go live tomorrow, it'll probably be around 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. So um, I'll put something up early um, so you guys can. I think you can click the bell that says notify me when the live starts or whatever. But that's what we'll talk about. And I might do it panel style so people can come up or talk and say how they feel about the situation and what they would do if their man came to them and said, you know what, I think I want to start seeing men. Right, get your wine. Get the wine ready. Just envision that. Like, what if you're married, right? You're already married, and then your man says, or what if you're dating somebody? You're dating a guy, and he says, I just want to keep it real with you. I like you. And in no way, shape, or form does this mean that I want to start cheating or anything like that. I want to be in a relationship with you, but in my past, I've also been with men. I've been with a man before, right? How would that make you feel? Or if you found out that your man had been with a man before, he didn't tell you, you just happened to read something or you went through his phone and you found out he likes gay porn with men. How would you feel about that? Like, would you feel like, oh, it's just porn, or he doesn't cheat on me? This is just something he likes to do in his private time. This is just something that turns him on and excites him. But he's not that way. Those are things that we're going to talk about. I'm going to get a good outline going, and we're going to just get it all out on the table. I know this guy had a wife and 4 kids. He left his family for a man. Allison said, ain't no way in hell. That would be horrible because what could you do? It's not like you can compete with a man. Like, what would you really do? And it's not like, and that's why they say black women are homophobic because we don't want to do that dance. We don't want to be a part of that. We want a man who only likes women. But they say all men have the potential to be gay. I don't know if that's true. I don't want to believe it's true, but that's what they say, that all men have the potential to be a homosexual. Right. I mean, it's a lot of women that have gone through that, though, I mean, I don't know what I would do. I'm sure I probably, you know what? And they say this too, that all women have been with some man that was probably gay and they didn't know it. If I don't know it, what I don't know won't hurt me. But if I found out of the blue, like if I knew ahead of time, you've been watching the D.O. Whisperer? Listen, I had to put my car in the auto body shop because I had the fender bender, and I was with with the guy driving me to the like the Enterprise rental car so I could rent a car, and just by his voice I could tell that he was probably one of the alphabet boys. But the way he was talking to me and the way he just kept talking and the way he just kept, like, I'm like, are you trying to get with me? Like, I was like, I usually don't be off about either one of those things, whether or not someone is a homosexual or if a man is trying to get with me. I'm usually not off about either one of those things. So it wasn't a situation where I was like, oh, I just want to feel like he wants to get with me. I was like, wait a minute, you're a homosexual and you're trying to get with me too. You know, he was all right looking, but I was just like, I don't like your voice. I don't like your voice. There are a lot of why they won't let you say there are a lot of DL men in my state. What's your state? I know they're saying that a lot of Atlanta transplants have moved on to Houston, so it's more people. It's starting to be Georgia. Yep, and they're saying Houston too because they're saying a lot of people have migrated from Atlanta to Houston, or excuse me, Texas. Yeah, Houston, and said that it's kind of iffy over there for the ladies. It's a lot of STDs going on and all of that. Some guys are just more feminine. Like I need a masculine guy though. I need a guy that is like really strong and really just you know like a man. I need a man. I don't want the feminine type. So yeah, that's what we'll talk about. You guys have a great rest of your Saturday. Allison said they are everywhere. Thank you, Lisa. God bless you all. And we're going to be just fine. However, this food stamp situation goes, we're going to be just fine. And we're gonna help out each other. We're gonna help our neighbors if we can, if we have extras or whatever. Let's try not to throw out food. Let's try not to eat out. Even if you're not relying on food stamps again, like I said, it could be the case that you see food prices increase where you live because these stores are going to be hurting. So try to cook meals that will, that will stretch, like spaghetti, lasagna, things like that. Try to only buy, like as far as fruits and vegetables, try to buy only what you will use like in 2 days or 3 days because the fruit is going bad really fast too. So I know I waste a lot of fruit and vegetables because they go bad so fast before I can cook them. Tomato sandwiches for the win. Publix have weekly BOGO deals and you can use coupon. Publix a Florida store only? We don't have a Publix here. And they used to do BOGO. I know sometimes Sprouts does BOGO. I don't like tomato sandwiches. I've never had one, but for some reason, I just know I don't like it. Allison says she needs a man that could pick up a couch. I know that's right, Allison. Like a roughneck out here, like be able to put in some kind of work. I'm gonna try it one day. A tomato sandwich? I don't know. Without bacon or nothing like that. Oh, they have Publix in Georgia. I didn't know that. Cal, go somewhere and fly a kite. Nobody cares about if food stamps are freeloading or not. We all need food stamps, and I want them. How about you stop coming over here telling me what we should do? How about you go get a job for me? And that's not what this is about. If you had it even listened to this live, it's not about freeloading. It's about everybody looking out for one another and everybody understanding that this affects us all, even you, Cal, because maybe you're going to need another job to pay for those price increases on this food while you're trying to be a wise guy. And that's another thing when it comes to this whole government shutdown situation. They always want to worry about what poor people are doing, and meanwhile, the top 1% is fleecing you dry. They're fleecing you dry. That's why you got potholes in your streets. That's why the hospitals are overrun and you can barely get a doctor's appointment now. That's why your meds are going up. That's why you're paying more for your medicine. All those different things. You work every day and you're paying more for everything. More for gas, more for your utilities. Your food prices have gone up. And you work every day, and I bet you can understand that your dollar doesn't go as far as it used to. But you want to come on here and talk about somebody needing to get a job and quit freeloading. I've worked all my life. All my life. My first job was probably at 11 or 12 years old, and I'm almost 50. I've worked all my life. And I don't rely on the government to take care of me. I just retired from a government job, sir. But if I did get food stamps and if I did want to go get food stamps, the last thing I'm going to be thinking about is someone like you and what you think about it. I'm going to feed me and my babies, period. I'm not going to steal or nothing else. And I'm just as entitled to food stamps as the top 1% is entitled to tax cuts. They're the real welfare recipients. They're the real freeloaders, want to come over here and have businesses and not pay their fair share of taxes like all other Americans. They don't want to pay fair, livable wages to their employees. And they want to get all the benefits and all the tax cuts while we, the Americans, pay for it. Those are the real freeloaders, but you don't think about that. Right, Allison? When he goes to the store and a loaf of bread is now $7 instead of $5, he'll understand. When he goes to the store and that $100 will only buy a bag of groceries instead of the 2 bags of groceries that he now gets, he'll understand. Our tax money pays for all the poor people. The poorest of us all are paying for the wealthiest of us all. Because the poorer people are working those jobs, making those poverty wages, hardly able to live while somebody else is living high on the hog. And that's what they really want. They really don't want to pay us nothing. If they could get away with it, they wouldn't pay Americans anything. They'd have us out there working on the fields like they used to. That's what they really want. And then the whole time what they can do is push those identity politics on people like Kevin or Kyle or whatever his name is. It doesn't really matter. They can push those identity politics onto him and make him think that he's better than somebody else because at least he's not on food stamps the whole time. He could barely even feed his wife and 3 or 4 children. I don't know wherever he's from. But I digress. Let me let y'all go. I thank you guys all for tuning in. And Niche, thank you once again for gifting those memberships. You are the littest and the dopest. I appreciate you. You guys have a good night.